I think Damian Lillard had his best performance of the year last night in Milwaukee's win over the Clippers. When you consider the performance itself, 41 points on 12 of 22 shooting, when you consider the context, no Giannis, no Middleton, going up against a mostly healthy Clippers team. Russell Westbrook's out. He's going to be out for the next month. But like, they had James Harden, they had Kawhi Leonard, they had Paul George. That's a pretty stacked Clippers team to go against without two of your best guys. And LA was also up 15 in the third quarter. They were up double digits for most of the third quarter. And for the Bucks to still pull out a victory, Bobby Portis deserves a lot of credit. He had 28 points. But for Damian Lillard to lead the way with such a great performance, I think was probably his best of the season. And I've said it a bunch of times, but it's performances like these that really get me excited about what the Bucks could do come playoff time. And this is sort of was a preview of why the Bucks traded so much for Dame, because when you have a guy who can just score at will from all three levels, Dame can do it from the farthest steps beyond the arc, but he could also get inside, and like, to just have that kind of player at your disposal it's such a luxury, because as we know, defenses really tighten up in the playoffs, and the plays you run don't always work, so you sort of have to rely on a lot of creativity and improvisation and just raw talent. And Damian Lillard, you could talk about the trade-off between him and Drew Holiday and also the other stuff they had to give up, but like, from a raw talent perspective, especially at the offensive end, there's no questioning that Dame is an upgrade. And so, like, again, it's performances like these that make you really excited. And I'm like, I know it was talked about a lot when Dame was first traded, but like, now that we're in March, I'm really starting to get more excited about seeing him in the playoffs, because this dude hasn't played a playoff game since 2021 when Portland played that tough 6-game series, but lost to Denver. And but even when he was making the playoffs, like, he has a couple of second round appearances under his belt. He got to the conference finals in 2019. I believe it was 2014 when he hit that first shot against Houston to get to the conference semis, but then they were promptly like destroyed by the Spurs, who went on to win the championship. But we just haven't seen Dame in so many first of all, playoff games over the last few years, but also like big time playoff games, like where you feel like this dude has a chance to really win a championship. And I think he has that now in Milwaukee, despite all their flaws, despite however you might feel about Doc Rivers, though I do think he deserves some credit because they've been playing really well after the All-Star break. So if we're going to, dismiss him and make fun of him when it's bad, we also have to give him credit when it's good. So credit to Doc Rivers. The defense is doing really well. And so we'll see if that can continue. But like, again, it's performances like these that I'm so excited to see Damian Lillard, first of all, just back in the playoffs, because he's been one of the best clutch performers ever. And like, you want to see a guy like that in the playoffs, but also like meaningful playoff games. I feel like that's sort of a contradiction, because obviously every playoff game is meaningful, but like, I don't want to see him on a team where like getting to the second round is considered a win of a season. Like, I want to see him, tied 2-2, pivotal game 5 to get to the conference finals. Like what is he gonna do? Like, we haven't seen him on a team with legitimate title aspirations, and so I'm excited to see what his talent, the kind of talent that we saw last night. Like, I'm so excited to see what that talent looks like, and how he, hopefully, shows up to those kind of moments, because we haven't seen him in that place. And I think that was one of like the real things we were looking forward to about him being traded to Milwaukee, was that, okay, now he's going to actually be playing in like some really legit big time playoff games. And so now that we're in March, and like now that we just saw this performance that he had last night, which is maybe him starting to really ramp it up, like I'm getting much more excited, because we're so much closer to that moment. But just in the short term, again, just a really impressive performance from Dame. To get wins that you shouldn't have, that's sort of the mark of a great team. And this was definitely a game that they could have easily chalked up to just like, hey, we just don't have, our best player, and then also Chris Middleton, and we're going up against this elite Clippers team. But like, to will them to a victory, I think that's definitely the type of win you could build momentum off of. And so we'll see if the Bucks can do it, and if Dame can continue this insane play, because he struggled for a lot of the season, at least by his standards. So maybe Dame time is ramping up. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so.